Coming up on Sunday Nation, Cristal Franklin, the niece of Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul, is talking to us about the Rolling Stone magazine's latest honor, naming Aretha Franklin as the greatest among its list of 200 greatest singers of all time. We're going to talk about the incredible legacy of Aretha Franklin. And of course, then the schism in the United Methodist Church here in Michigan over the LGBTQ issue and why members are leaving the church. And of course, we're going to look at the NFL and what happened to Damar Hamlin. Is it time for the NFL to clean its house and keep things in order? Healthcare and the pay of workers in the league. All coming up on this week's edition of Sunday Nation. Stay with us. Welcome to Sunday Nation. Detroit's own, the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin, was recently named by Rolling Stone magazine as the greatest among 200 of its singers, the greatest of all time. And joining us to talk about it is Cristal Franklin, the niece of the Queen of Soul. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you. The last time we spoke was what?
It was at the conference.
Yeah, I remember. Yep. Well, I invited you here because I wanted to talk about the Rolling Stone honor of the Queen of Soul.
Yes.
In terms of being named the greatest of all singers.
Yes. So I believe the Rolling Stone did this before.
Right.
And I want to say they only did the top 100 and she was
Right.
on the top of that as well.
Right.
And that probably was preceding her passing.
Yeah.
So to rehash the list again and she's still on top is amazing. You can't, I mean, you can't beat that.
That is true. And I think for a lot of people, though, it's not a surprise, is it?
I don't know if it was a surprise because maybe they were thinking of just the present singers and kind of didn't think about those who had passed along.
Right.
So I will say this was for you.
Right.
One of the things that was amazing for me during the funeral was the impact that my aunt had.
Yeah.
She was just my aunt.
Yes.
My father's sister.
Right.
The one I shopped with, the one we gossiped with after award ceremonies. We took trips, family gatherings. So the impact, I didn't realize it until after her passing. When people from all around the world came, some had never seen her in concert, some had only seen her on television or heard her, you know, through music, radio, television, you know, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So to see now that she's still a viable, very present artist, even in the music industry now, 50 years later, is amazing.
You know, it's interesting you said it because, you know, I suddenly attended a funeral as well, and it was an international funeral.
Yes.
It was one of those few events. I mean, we saw trucks from, I remember this, the Australian television network, the Washington bureau reached out to me and asked me if I could recommend somebody who knew Aretha Franklin that they could talk to. And guess who I reached out to?
Who?
The late Bishop P.A. Brooks.
Yes.
And Bishop Brooks was a dear friend of mine. He'd invited me many times to speak at his church. But he had a special relationship with your aunt.
Yes, because of my grandfather.
You see, exactly.
Yes.
But Bishop Brooks will tell me about how your aunt Aretha, the Queen of Soul, will call and say, Bishop, I'm on my way to bring my offertory.
Yes.
And he said, the Queen of Soul will show up at New St. Paul Tabernacle Church of God in Christ and drop a $10,000 check.
Without hesitation.
Offertory, you know, so, and so I connected the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, Washington, D.C. Bureau to come here. They flew here, and they were, of course, among all the media outlets that covered the funeral. But how did you feel, though, that your aunt's funeral became this huge international event?
Well, one thing I will have to say is even now, 4 years later, I'm still learning of events that happened at the funeral.
Yes.
I giggle and laugh with many of my friends, and I can say I can write a book about from the moment, you know, she fell ill all the way up until we rode into the cemetery, and my daughter was singing, "It's close to midnight," right? Because it's like dark outside. You know, normally funeral homes or cemeteries have a cutoff time. If you're not in by a certain time, we're sorry, you can't bury your person. But because it was Aretha, they probably would have stayed open 24 hours had we needed that to happen. The international flair was amazing. I met a young lady, her name is Shama Rose. She's from Amsterdam, and she is like the American Idol of Amsterdam.
Wow.
And we became friends. She actually invited me to London to a concert where she performed some of my aunt's songs. It was actually a tribute to my aunt. She had never saw my aunt in concert one day in her life, but all she knew was that Aretha was her person. Her mom, she was originally from Curacao, and her mom raised her off of Aretha's music. Now, we're talking about a country that speaks a whole nother language.
Oh, totally, yeah.
So for them to even understand English and to embrace Aretha like she did was such a blessing. And Shama became such a great friend. We still communicate. She allowed me to come to the show, me and my mom. She invited us. She paid for everything, which was something that we were not expecting. She even allowed me to sell my merchandise. And through that,
this is somebody who attended the funeral.
And we met her at the host hotel. We were just the day of the tribute. We were going to the Shane Park, which is now the Aretha Franklin Amphitheater. She was in the lobby, and she was just looking like, "Oh my God, you're the family. My name is Shama. I came in from Amsterdam. I would love to attend any events that I can." I said, "Girl, come on and get on the bus." So she rode with the family to the event. I said, "Just find you a seat. Don't worry about it. Nobody's gonna put you out." And she had a great time. Like I said, we connected. We remained friends. She allowed me to sell her merchandise.
This is the Queen of Soul speaking from the grave for you. Taking care of you from the grave.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's beautiful. You know, the only other funeral that I thought was close to that was the Rosa Parks funeral. That's about it. Those are the only two funerals that I think really had that kind of international acclaim and drew that kind of attention. But going back to this Rolling Stone, though, you know, some may say, well, it's good to see that Aretha is still viewed as a significant contribution to black music, but to global American music.
To global music, that's to me, that's the biggest impact, is that globally she still stands the test of time. Many artists come and go, many are very local, some are, you know, regional, some are seasonal, but for her music to still stand the test of time, like I said, 50 years later, is the blessing of it all. She crosses no age, no race, no religion. You know, it doesn't matter where you come from, when you were born, if you were in the church, if you were secular, as they say, there is always an Aretha Franklin song that will hit home for whatever moment or whatever thing that you're going through at that time. Whether it's sadness or glory, she always has something for you.
Well, you know, I mean, there are, and I've listened to her songs, just amazing. I mean, there are a few musicians, I think, that cross that path, that are timeless and transcendent. Aretha Franklin, Bob Marley, Stevie Wonder. I think we can do our own playlist, right?
I like Sting. I'm an Elton John fan, Little Madonna. We went to a Cher concert, you know, so she also enjoyed other genres of music, you know, so that was the best thing about having her as an aunt, having a global icon as an aunt. I was exposed to a lot of things that people would only dream, you know, inaugurations, award ceremonies, all that kind of stuff.
So let's talk about it in the context of just you, right? So you have this woman who's your aunt, who's a global icon, who's such a significant figure to African-American life, to American life, to global life. How are you able to deal with that? And then, of course, it's not like your last name is another last name. It's Franklin. So
I always tell my friends that I'm dating, if we ever get married, you're going to change your last name to Franklin, because mine is a little more powerful than yours. So that's like a running joke we have with my friends and things like that. It's been a blessing. It's also been a curse. So one of the blessings we've had was that I was able to grow up without social media. So within that, we were able to keep some of our business private. We were able to make moves that people, you know, now they broadcast everything. Some moves, you know, just were made.
People are doing live cooking from their kitchen on social media.
Exactly. So it gave us another spin on life in order to grow up in it. And then I always have to let people know that when I was born in '73, my aunt was already an icon. So I was born into this situation.
She was a central figure of the civil rights movement.
And my grandfather as well. So it wasn't something that, oh, when I got to be a teenager, now we have this, you know, abrupt change in lifestyle. No, when I was born, this was my lifestyle. So for her to have nurtured me and to take me underneath her wing and allow me to attend things, the Obama ceremony, Carter ceremony, Clinton ceremony.
I watched her performance at the Kennedy Center, you know, and, you know,
Just things like that that people, again, people only dream of doing. I've sat down at tables that people only, I mean, I sat down with Donald Trump. People dream of that. And I'm considered a hood girl. Because, see, I'm from Detroit, born and raised and educated. 6 Mile in Stansbury. So I got the best of both worlds. I could sit down at the table at a $10,000 plate dinner, and then I can go over at Mumford and, you know, kick it with my friends whose parents are less fortunate than mine. So I was totally blessed all the way around. I was one of those kids that, when I was younger, I didn't want anybody to know Aretha was my aunt. Because I didn't.
Why? Because of the attention?
Because of the attention. Well, first of all, people were like, she's not your aunt. So it took me a while to just get to the point where I'd be like, okay. You know, what am I going to do? I can't fight you. I can't, it's nothing that I can do to, you know, when you see me on TV or you catch me in the jet or I'm in the Chronicle, then you will say, oh, you were right. So as a young girl though, so my name is Cristal Robin Aretha Franklin. So as a young person, my parents always taught me to say, when I'm introduced to someone, I had to say my whole name. So when we come across...
So Cristal Robin Aretha Franklin. So that's the way I should have introduced you. Cristal Robin Aretha Franklin. But go ahead.
So when I was younger and I would say my name, people would say, oh my God, that's so cute. So when we come across people, say like the OJ's managers and people who work with the old groups, Earth, Wind, and Fire, they'd be like, I remember you. You were that little girl and say your whole name. So I've always had to carry myself in a certain type of manner, in a certain, you know, even when I have these hood friends, I can't do all the hood stuff. Because see, if I get caught up, the headline's going to read Aretha Franklin's niece.
You better and your name going to be in small print. You better be sure of that. So, and I might be the one writing about it.
So luckily, I was blessed to understand my blessing and to walk in the blessing and to always allow other people within my circle to come on into the blessing. I'm that type of person that I used to bring my friends to all of the birthday parties, the Christmas parties. If I could take them to a concert, I would. I never was that type of person. We weren't raised to exclude people. My father and them went to Hutchins and Northern. They Detroit people. You know what? They were blessed to go to schools like Morehouse and to have friends who were doctors and lawyers, but they still had their gambling hood friends. So
Aretha passed away in 2018.
Yes.
What, 4 years ago?
Yes.
What has been done now to keep her legacy? I know we have the Aretha Franklin Amphitheater. What else are you involved in? What else are you doing to keep that legacy going?
Well, I was blessed enough to be a part of the 7 women who were chosen for the Respect movie to do merchandising. So I provided merchandising for that. With that came an opportunity to provide merchandising for more movies. So that was a whole nother blessing within itself. I am currently working on getting the nonprofit for my family up and running. I'm a cancer survivor as well. I was diagnosed in 2015 with skin cancer. So on my father's side of the family, which includes my aunt, all of his brothers and sisters, including himself, has passed from cancer. So I want to make it my mission in order to go out into the world and let people know that, yes, cancer is a problem within our community, but I want to help the young people whose sisters and brothers are going through cancer treatment, their parents are going through cancer treatment, because a lot of times the families go through cancer treatment and then we don't get counseling.
It's true.
We don't continue our extracurricular activities for the children. You know, there are things that has to stop and cease once the person goes through that. So my mission is also to offer scholarships. My father is a graduate of Morehouse. He had a degree in philosophy. So I want to be able to continue that, where young people can go to Morehouse and continue their studies. Because a lot of times they get the money in the first 2 years, and in the third and fourth year the money isn't available anymore. So they can't continue. So I would like to see more young men continue in that. I went to Alabama A&M. My daughter graduated from Howard, so we're a black college family. So I want to continue the legacy of education, because that was big within our family. That was very important to Aretha. She helped my daughter with her financial situation in school. She helped myself. So I would be remiss if I didn't help others in the future. I would love to have a school where we did television broadcasting, where we did music. The young people learned about behind the scenes. Because even though Aretha was the person that was on the stage, it was everybody else who made everything else happen. Her band conductor, the person who ran the score, just you know, a gamut of those kinds of things. I want to do anything that I can to keep my aunt and my grandfather's legacy alive, because my grandfather was a very pivotal person within the civil rights. So with all of that, I just want to keep the legacy alive. I want people to understand that without Aretha, there would be no Cardi B.
That's true.
Because she kicked down a lot of doors and allowed these young women to make hundreds of thousands of dollars and to do what they say, go get the bag. Aretha would carry the bag on the stage. And the stage would have 100,000 crisp dollar bills in it. You know, so I want to be able to let people know that there is a way to be in the front, in the back, and you can make those same amount of money and the same contribution within the industry.
No, I like that, and you know, I think it's making black colleges a part of that is so significant. I just got appointed recently to the executive board of the Center for Racial Justice at Dillard University in New Orleans. I was in Dillard speaking earlier last year, and my late godfather, George Haley, Alex Haley's brother, the author of Roots, he went to Morehouse. He told me the name Benjamin Elijah Mays. That's the first time I heard, you know, so I think it's important to really keep those black institutions at the forefront of, you know, keeping Aretha Franklin's legacy alive.
Yes, definitely. She wanted me to go to Spelman because that was the sister school to Howard. But at the time, you know, you're 18. I want boys. So I went, you know, I went down to Alabama A&M. It was the best thing I could have ever done for myself. Howard University was the best thing that ever could happen for my daughter. And I just know as a young girl, Morehouse was very pressed upon me. I knew everything about Morehouse. I have my father's diploma. I have the order of graduation. He graduated magna cum laude. He made everybody know how important it was for the education. And I just know for myself and for future generations how important the experience is, the grounding of it all, the knowledge that you gain, not only from the professors, but from your other peers that you're around. You know, it's very important. And it's very important for those within our city.
Can we extend this? We're live. Can we extend this to 2 more minutes? I got 2 more questions for Cristal here.
Okay.
What are some of the memories that you have of your aunt, the Queen of Soul? I mean, is there a saying? Is there a phrase? Is there something that stands out?
Her laugh is what I miss the most. Her laugh was very distinct. It was very, it was the best laugh ever. That, and she was the only person on earth that could call me Chrissy.
Okay.
She was the only person on earth that would ever allow me to call Chrissy. So I miss hearing that. I miss the telephone calls. Now, the one thing anybody will tell you that when you got a telephone call from your aunt, be prepared to sit down for at least 45 to 50 minutes. That was not going to be a short call. I don't care if she was calling you about what she was cooking or what we're going to do next week. It was definitely a 45-minute conversation. I miss that. I miss the shopping. I'm not going to lie. I have a horrible shopping habit because of her. I miss the outings. I just miss the outings, Pistons games. She took my daughter and her grandchildren to the Disney on Ice. Just the little simple things that people would never even imagine. Going to Walmart, riding the bus to the different concerts.
But you see, the world has the image of Aretha Franklin, the icon. But they don't have the image of what you're sharing, how she'd go, you know, to the movies and all those other things.
We did all that kind of stuff. I'll never forget. So I went to Jesu Catholic school, and we had to wear uniforms. So I was transitioning from Jesu to DePorres, the high school. She took me school shopping, and she called my mom, and she was like, "Can Chrissy wear pants to school?" I just thought that was the funniest thing. And she wanted to take me to Saxon Jacobson's, but I'm a teenager. I want to go to Northland. She was like, "Okay, we're going to go to," no, actually I wanted to go to Fairlane. She was like, "Okay, we're going to make this one trip to Fairlane, and we're going to go to Macy's." And when I tell you that I had the best shopping trip ever, but she would always buy me these unique gifts that I couldn't wear anywhere else, like a purple fur coat. Why am I going in a purple fur coat? You know what I'm saying? But I miss all of that, you know, and then
well, she was the queen and she was preparing you to be the princess. So you might as well wear the purple coat.
I love talking politics with her. You know, she had a very political mind. You know, she shared her views. So, you know, that kind of thing. I miss the conversation. She was the last living relative I had on my father's side. So I miss that. I miss that a lot, yes.
Well, you know, we'll have you back. Because I want to talk more about all the nonprofit, the other stuff that you're working on, so we can, you know, keep that legacy going and keep it alive.
Always. I say thank you, of course.
Yeah,
Bankole, it's my pleasure.
Cristal, Robin,
Franklin.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll be right back with more on Sunday Nation.